Herkese selam millet. Bugün sizlerle birlikte The Stanley Parable, artık nasıl okunuyor hani siz karar verirsiniz. Bunu oynayacağız. Güzel bir oyun olduğuna inanıyorum. Başlayalım oyuna.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Toplantı odası neresi? Şu mu? Şu mu acaba? Burası değil.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ha siktir, ben de emirlere uyuyorum. Sağdan girseydim ne olacaktı? Damn.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ya şu anda başkalarının kararlarını uyguluyorum ama acaba oyun onunla alakalı bir şey mi? Broom closet. What the hell?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Wow. Oyunda
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
aşağı
office.
iniyorum. Bir şey yok.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
What the hell?
For that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. and he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Damn, harbiden lan.
He imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
Bari şurada yatayım.
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear me?
Aynı yerler tekrar mı ediyor? Yok. Evet.
And everything went black.
Korku oyunu mu lan bu?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ne?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Wow. Böyle bir şey beklemiyordum. ...11'i 21 geçiyor. En başa geri geldik.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Gene mi ya?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Şimdi o zaman geçen gittiğimde
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, no, no, no, no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
şimdi 20 kere mi tıklayayım lan herhangi bir kapıya? Abi gerçekten bunu yapıyorum ya şu an. Bir şey diyecek mi acaba? Bunu merak ettim. Burası dışarısı. Dışarı da çıkılmıyor. İlla o toplantı odasına gideceğim. Çok garip. Burası. Burası da sanki dışarısıymış gibi. Hani ofisten dışarı çık.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Sağdakinden abi.
he entered the door on it. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed
Ciddi
room.
misin?
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yani gerçekten
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
evet. Yani oraya illa gideceğiz. Damn.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Dışarı çıkabiliyor muyuz abi? Abi. He, gelme diyor. Tamam, ona gelme diyorsa gelme diyeceğim. Yani gelme diyeceğim diyorum. Gitmeyeceğim ona. Kartım yok. Geri. Geri de dönemiyorum. O zaman çıkalım. Öleceğiz galiba. Warning diyor da.
Look, Stanley, I think
Huh?
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Ortam fena.
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Lan atla.
Stop trying to make What? Really?
Yes,
I was
sir.
in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look,
Ne göstereceğim
let
ona?
me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Yok. Açılmıyor. Burası. Ben oyunu uzatıyorum galiba. Bilmiyorum, onun dediklerini mi yapsam? Aha. Bir seçim. Kırmızı mı mavi mi?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ben de aslında kırmızıyı seçecektim. Kırmızıyı seçtim ya. Hadi bakalım.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now.
Malak dedi ya.
Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
Niye aynı yerde?
I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Abi yapma abi. Evet, yükleniyor. Ne oluyor lan? Ben de böyle döneyim. Ee, Yalnız bu renkler çok can alıcı, çok güzel. Atlayayım mı ha? Deniyorum lan. Ha, atlanmıyor. Ha. Geri çık yapayım mı buraya? Dur bakayım. Bir şey demedi o zaman. Aa, bir şeyler geldi. Tamam, gidiyorum artık, tamam.
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Ses tonundan yalan olduğunu anladım.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Ses tonu. Tamam. Hmm. Tamam, hadi geri iniyorum, tamam. Aa bak, o. Oo bak, burası güzel. Bak, burayı beğendim. Oo bak, şu renkli. Oğlum, ne oluyor lan? Ha. Lan ben kör oldum lan.
What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
Bir şey mi geliyor lan? Öyle bir duman gibi bir şey var burada.
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
Ya ama ölmem mi gerekiyor yani? Oradan atlamam mı gerekiyor? Burada bir bok olduğu yok. Oo. Oo. Evet kanka, burada kalacağım da. Baloncuk mu patlatayım, anlamadım ki şuradan. Hadi, başka bir şey yok mu? Şu müzikten başka bir şey vermedin ya. Oo, yıldızlar. Bak, gene geldi bunlar. Bak, ben gideceğim oradan, atlayacağım ya. Başka türlü oyun ilerlemeyecek büyük ihtimalle.
Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Atlıyorum lan. Hadi Allah.
No!
Ne oldu ya?
Thank God you lived. No.
Gene yapacağım lan.
No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm
Şuradan
asking you
zıplayamıyorum.
not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Şu İngiliz aksanına bayıldım. Ölmüyorum ki.
Let's go back to the other room. Can you do
Ama bir yavaşladım. Oo. Şuraya bak. Tamam da kanka, buradan sonra oyun nasıl ilerleyecek? Şuraya mı zıplayayım? Zıplanmıyor ki oyunda. Oradan atlayacağım ya full. İlerliyor mu lan o?
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Yes sir, doğru anlamışsın bro. Gel lan.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Benim için neymiş o? Şu kapıyı deneyeceğim. Benim içinse o kapıyı deneyeceğim, bakalım açılıyor mu? Zaten tahta ölmüşler. Kapı değil ki. Da-na-na-nam. You can jump.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Atlamaman gerekiyor diyor. Bak. Şimdi yerde sayfalar var.